Hi, this is Rebel Heart Rose here with you live. I wonder how y'all are doing. Um, eh, here and there maybe. Well, I do have a topic today. And you could comment, leave a comment, and if you didn't catch it live, you can just watch this video later and then comment your opinion on the topic. We're going to talk about what if Anakin had Qui-Gon the whole time when he grew up. What if, just what if Qui-Gon lived and raised Anakin to have someone to go to talk about um the Jedi Council, to actually understand him a bit more? Would that help him not turn dark? Since Qui-Gon understood that sometimes the council's wrong, um, I was just wondering. Let me do something right here. That looks better. I have planet like Saturn that's close to my webcam, and I have it on there, and it looks right now. Um, I believe wholeheartedly that Anakin would not turn dark. Here's why. He would have more of a confidant in both of them, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. The Obi-Wan was more on the side of the Jedi Council anyway, and that kind of pushed Anakin not feeling comfortable of talking to him about things and stuff like that. So that he had to turn to Palpatine for that. And if Qui-Gon lived, I mean, he would have had someone to go to. Who knows? The council can be wrong. And he would have felt so comfortable around that. And Qui-Gon was wise as well. I don't know. I actually do believe Anakin would not have turned dark if Qui-Gon lived. Qui-Gon is the perfect father figure, of course. He's always kind of cool-headed, mainly. And he was calm and he was patient. I think Anakin needed that, especially the patience. And Obi-Wan was a kid, still a young adult, still learning on his own when he took Anakin in. Qui-Gon was already like well experienced in dealing with the child. Um, I still think Anakin would have been better off with Qui-Gon. Obi-Wan's good, but even he sided with Cancel too much. And it made Anakin feel like he had to go behind his back to let things out. That's what I think. I'm just talking about story and what ifs and whatnot, and what would happen. You know, I'm not talking about how bad this is, how bad that is. I'm just talking about theory wise and story wise. What if? So I'm not here to for anyone to bash any of the writing. I'm just focusing on the story about what if, you know? I'd say if you, because to me, Qui-Gon was more of a leader, independent leader than Obi-Wan was. Even though Obi-Wan's good, Obi-Wan is good, but Qui-Gon was better. And he even saw things happen before. And the Jedi Council had been proven in the past to be people who didn't listen to the truth when they were told it. They were warned, warned, and warned. They didn't want to listen. Qui-Gon listens. Anakin would have been on the good side for sure with Qui-Gon. And the thing is, we needed. I would love to hear more about Qui-Gon's story too. And the interesting factor is that how can Qui-Gon be so good when his master was Dooku? Dooku's interesting too because Dooku warned Obi-Wan about it, about the Sith. Didn't listen. Just like the Jedi Council don't listen to warnings. And I see so much reflection. This is why Anakin would have been better off with Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon listens to warnings. He heeds them. And he doesn't ignore it. He doesn't just put it off to the back burner. He actually pays attention, pays close attention to what is happening, and he does think ahead. This is what I loved about Qui-Gon. He doesn't push warnings aside. Like, oh, it's not gonna happen, it's not gonna happen. Until it happens, even history. That's why the Jedi Council had to be. Well, let's just say they were warned, but they didn't listen. So, what happens when you don't listen to warnings? You deserve exactly the ounce of thing you get from it. You know, and Palpatine fed off of that. He fed off of Anakin's disapproval of the Council. He fed off of it. He pushed. He he pretty much used that distrust in the Council. Qui-Gon would have nurtured him the right way. Obi-Wan didn't really know because guess what? He was still young himself. Let's just say that. He was still figuring it out himself. And the way Qui-Gon talked to Anakin, to where he could understand understand without letting him feel judgmental, like that would have helped a lot. Because no one can. How can I put this? When you listen to understand somebody, without making them feel like they're dumb or stupid or childish. They will end up to learn and they will grow if you don't make them feel inferior. And I believe people grow from someone not making them feel like they're hard to love or hard to listen or hard to learn or making them feel inferior in any way, shape, or form. This is another reason I think racism is stupid. We're human beings. That's plain, simple fact. Why can't we act like humans? Why can't we act like everyone's connected by energy, by the force? The force is another name I believe you can call a god, or you can say energy. Could be energy. Anyone can make the same thing, just name it different, and then argue about it. Let's stay on top. Anakin. Qui-Gon already had experience of raising one Padawan, or probably more than one. I don't know his backstory as well as I should. I know he was in love with somebody. That I do know. I know he questioned the council, which is wise. It's wise to question them. Somebody has to keep authorities in question, or they'll constantly think they're always in power. So they won't see, so they can keep seeing better. But the thing is, they lost their power to see because they wouldn't listen, they wouldn't hear warnings. Because they blinded themselves because of arrogance. It's because of arrogance that Sidious snuck up on them. It was because of arrogance and their willingness to not listen to the truth when it's presented to them. That's the reason for the fall of the Jedi. And if Qui-Gon lived, Anakin would not have turned, and a lot of things would have been different, I believe. I firmly believe one person can change all of that. Just one person can do all of that because of his influence. And I love that about it because it's a good speculation, but even though he had a little bit of Darth Vader in him the whole time, actually it would not have been, because if Qui-Gon would have explained it to him or taught him instead of what his examples of the council were, and Qui-Gon would have told him the truth, in his opinion, maybe we would have seen Anakin as a gray Jedi, someone that's both light and dark, a balance. He would have been more of a balance in the Force then, as opposed to that. Even Qui-Gon loved, and he didn't turn dark. So The council had a big thing to do with Anakin turning dark. I believe that. And Obi-Wan signed with the council that actually pushed Anakin towards it. Here it is. The way they say Jedi cannot love, Jedi can't do this and that. That isn't letting the Jedi be who they were. They ended up fighting wars. They ended up being generals. They ended up in wars. And they've forgotten they weren't supposed to be in wars. They were supposed to be peacekeepers to help people. They were technically supposed to help people. But they got so caught up in their own Jedi world, they forget to help people who actually need it. Turn a blind eye, and that blind eye created the Sith rising back up. That's what we need to watch out for here. And Anakin would have been a lot better with Qui-Gon. Because Qui-Gon would have talked to him regular. I mean, he would have said it's okay to speak your mind. It's okay to be this. It's okay to disagree with him. Instead, no, don't go against the don't go against the council like Obi-Wan always being even under Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon I meant Qui-Gon. I love the fact he said F you, basically F you to the council. I'm going to do whatever I want anyway. I love that outlaw in him. He was the outlaw saying, "Oh, you don't decide what I do. You don't do this. I'm going to do it my way." See, they would consider that dark, but he was a great Jedi and he had the right mindset. He was independent. He was going to do what's right even if the council thinks it was wrong. And I think that's the reason why Sidious took advantage of Anakin. Is through that area right there. He was manipulating that, which is brilliant for an evil mastermind to do, making it look like he was doing good. And if the Jedi Council was more lenient, none of this would have happened to them. They would have saw a lot more ahead. Their minds were clear. If they really realized that you have to love in order, can be fear. You can have fear. Just not let it control you. If the Jedi weren't as controlling, I think that's a better term for it. Anakin would not have went to the dark. That includes with Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan mainly sided with the council. But under Qui-Gon, he would have had both Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon helping. And he would have had a better person to turn to instead of Sidious. What I would like to know what y'all would think about it. If y'all can leave comments. If you want more discussions like this, let me know. Because I thought about it last night, or well, through early this morning. I was thinking about this. What if? And the Jedi Council was different. They would not have. They would not have been blinded by Sidious at all. And there was no need for others to go to the dark side if they were more welcoming. And I'm going to go off topic for a little bit. I've seen a lot of similarities between the Jedi who claim to be good and some Republicans. They claim to be good, but they're controlling at times. Not all Republicans, just the main ones that are Trumpicans controlling. They know they're lying, but they're manipulative. Out for getting big head. And then they were warned. They were warned about the virus, didn't listen. They they were warned about a lot of things and didn't listen. People say the left's evil. No, they at least try to attempt to do the right thing, the right choice, and you call that evil? Heh, I would like to see what your definition of evil is, because the way I see it, from my perspective, what the Trumpkins are doing is evil. The very taking robbing the poor to give to the rich. Yeah, that's not what good people do, by the way. The Sith were straightforward, and also the Trumpkins also remind me of Sith. As Trump goes, I met the Republicans that supported Trump but not on his side, or the Jedi who wouldn't listen. And then Trumpkins are the Sith. I explained it to my significant other early this morning. Because the Trumpkins reminded me of exactly Sidious and his and the Sith. They're showing you exactly who they are. They come with half truths, not the full truths, but the way they act, you can tell exactly who they are. And I think that's the appeal to some people, but it's dangerous and it really goes against democracy. If Princess Leia were here, she'd be against him. She'd be hell no to him. Seriously. Me, if you can't see how the Trumpkins are dangerous at this point, oh, God help you. When you look back in history, you'll see. But there is some good Republican people that I do respect. that are similar to the Jedi, who claim to have more morals and more everything. Me, I'm more towards the gray area because there's nothing. I'm like this. You can't have light without dark in you, and you have to balance that out. You can't fight against yourself. You can't fight against the bad part of you, or you'll go crazy insane mentally. You just got to find that right balance of bad and good and do a balancing thing. You know? I think every one of us has bad and every one of us has good. Out of every bad situation, something good happens. Out of every good situation, there's something bad that happens. Yin and yang, I still firmly believe in yin and yang. And the truth of the scenario is, I'm going to go back on topic. Sorry for the slide, but this also is political. Helping people shouldn't be a partisan issue. That's a duh. But apparently, only those Democrats and slightly few Republicans believe in helping people, especially the poor. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you got a president who don't like helping the poor people. You screwed yourself. You got fooled. He's a con man. And I don't feel pity, to be honest, because he showed you who he was the whole time. He's a bad businessman. A lot of his businesses went down went to bankruptcy, and that's not a good thing. A lot of people lost a lot of businesses because of him. You know, even a good game show host would have made a better president. I firmly believe that. Those who actually take it seriously and wanted to learn, there's your leadership. Leadership takes responsibility. No matter what, they take responsibility. They don't divert blame to another party. They work their butts off. Not go on the golf course. Or right before a pandemic, they wouldn't have called it a hoax. That's the parallels I got from that to this. So this topic to that. So I'm going to switch back to Anakin. Anakin went dark. Partly because he felt like he couldn't trust the council. He couldn't trust them. And the Jedi Council should have been more open minded instead of closed minded. Again, another parallel for the Republican Party. Closed mindedness instead of open mindedness. That would have helped him, understood him, been there for him and Padme. They would have listened and then told him not to pay attention to what he sees. How many times has that happened? How many times the Jedi Council told someone not to pay attention to what their visions see because it could be clouded? That was stupid on Yoda's part. Stupid is as stupid does. How many times have they been warned something happens, and then it happens and they were not prepared? Sound familiar? Case in point, independents tried to warn. Even the Dems trying to warn. Didn't listen. I mean, Anakin would have been so much better off with someone who actually believes on his own instead of the council. Independent thinker. One, an outlaw. Would have been so much better in better hands, more understandable hands. See, he did a good job with Obi-Wan, though. He did a good job, but Obi-Wan chose the council. He would have been good with Anakin. Anakin would not have went dark. Obi-Wan didn't go dark. I'd say I'd say Qui-Gon did some good, and yet you have Yoda. His Padawan went dark. Just, I'm just saying. The dark ain't always right, but they do make a point. The Sith make a point, a human point. Just imagine if both light and dark listened to one another instead of fought. How much different the world would be. Not as long as there's greed, envy, jealousy, those who love to take advantage of the poor. We gotta fight that. We gotta fight that. You know, the greedy. And shockingly, that ain't the Democrats. No, it's those who are in office right now in in the higher up. Star Wars was all about politics. Basically, that's all Star Wars was too. And it was liberal. And define evil because everyone defines evil different. There's your different viewpoints. But we all can agree on some things that are just evil, that are inhumane, is you don't shoot someone in the back. And when you're a police, you're not supposed to, you are definitely not supposed to execute people, just arrest and stuff. There's a difference if there was a shooting commencing and the only way you had to do was defend yourself. That's different. But not unarmed civilian black men. There is a really big difference in that, people. You can't see that, then there's something wrong with you. I mean, come on. That's human decency. And they take white men who killed like more than 3 people in alive. Do you ever question that? Duh. You know it ain't right. I'm just saying. I mean, I know I was just going to discuss one thing and going on to the next. But overall, my overall opinion on anything, if Anakin was to become, if Anakin was going to be the chosen one, Qui-Gon would have been the one who brought the chosen one up first. And he would have ratted on the Sith Lord if he had Qui-Gon to turn to, instead of feeling alone and turning to other people and turning against the Jedi Council because he felt like they wouldn't understand him. Qui-Gon would have. One person makes a big difference in someone's life. Just one. That's all it takes. Someone who understands you. And I believe if Qui-Gon was there, he would have been on the right track. Because Obi-Wan always sided mainly with the Council, even though he's pig-headed at times, but he always seems to follow the Council. And the Council hasn't been right at times. So doing what's right means going against certain beliefs at the time. And this ends up, again, reflection of today. Something you think is considered wrong could be right. You know? Except in the case when human rights are being taken away, you should consider that. Maybe that is wrong to take human rights away. People are defending a baby, but when that baby is born into adoption, I was adopted. I got lucky. But there's babies that get left in dumpsters because of everything going on. You'll have more deaths, more worse by that. If you take away a woman's choice, and it's a woman's body, without the mother living, the baby would not survive. Let's just agree on that. Science agrees with that. The baby depends on the mother, therefore, mother's choice. I don't like abortions, but I would not force my opinion on someone else. That's what it all comes down to. That's dictatorship. If you haven't even recognized what dictator is making other people choose against their own will. Now who's in the wrong? Because I can clearly see, y'all see the resemblance between the now Trump administration and Palpatine? That's the scary part. Art imitates reality. Or no, life imitates art. That's scary. But overall, I keep on going back and forth, back and forth. I'm going to end it in a little bit. Overall, I think if Anakin had someone to agree with him about the council, felt like he was on his side, instead of just pushing him towards the Palpatine, who would actually be on the side of him and Padme, which I believe Qui-Gon would have been. He would have supported it because he fell in love too. He had more parallels with Anakin. Is that he died for good. Even though he went against the Jedi Council, you can go against the Jedi Council and still be good. Exactly. To the point where when did having your own opinion become, oh, you're evil? When did that happen? Um, as for human rights, there shouldn't be an opinion. If you cared about someone else, you let them choose for themselves instead of being controlling. That was Jedi Council's fault. They were controlling. They were too controlling. If they would have been more free, more open, more accepting, Anakin wouldn't have turned to dark. Anakin would have had a really good, reliable relationship with Qui-Gon. I believe that. He would not have turned completely dark. He would have not gone that far. Because he would have had a longer time with Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon went on his own ways. That's pretty much what a Jedi should do. They shouldn't rely on anyone else's views except what they decide and what they research. You know? He would have done that with Anakin. Said it'll be okay to love. Instead of telling them that attachment leads to the dark side. BS. If they would have accepted the person, they accepted the flaws. Just tell them it's okay. It's okay to be this way. It's okay. Accept yourself for who you are and just be free to be yourself. You wouldn't have had anyone turning dark. A lot of the times the Jedi did backstab people. And the ones they backstabbed ended up as Sith. Think about it. The Jedi got blinded. They couldn't see their own arrogance, their own cockiness, their own behavior was atrocious, hurtful to others. They didn't think about it. They just got used to doing one thing. They didn't see the dark. They didn't see it. They were blinded by their own egos. The council. That's why Anakin thought they were evil. He had Qui-Gon in him. Even Qui-Gon went against the Jedi Council. And if he had him there to talk to, I believe he wouldn't have. I'm just saying. But then again, Sifo Dyas was backstabbed by Dooku. It's a wonder Dooku trained Qui-Gon, yet Qui-Gon turned out to be a better man. Even Dooku loved him. I mean, even it hurt Dooku that Qui-Gon died. That turned him even more against the Council. What is evil? Anything you heard of other people putting them in cages, that I consider evil. There's so much misinformation. Look up verifiable sources. I'm sorry, I'm getting into politics during this back and forth, but you can't talk about Star Wars without, I guess, talking about politics in the story as well. But still, overall, Anakin would have had someone to turn to other than Sidious and Padme. He would have been open about Padme to Qui Gon. Qui Gon has loved again the similarities. Would have understood him. I think Sidious wanted Qui Gon gone for that reason. Just saying. He probably knew. He probably knew if Qui Gon lived, Anakin wouldn't have turned to the dark. At least not that easily. If he was tempted. And if Yoda would have listened to his dream instead of saying don't pay attention to it, it's probably nothing. Instead of just backpedaling it and face it head on. Let's see what we can do. You can open up to me about this and we can work on this together and get you through this. That would have been the right attitude to have. See, Jedi had the downfall because they didn't think broadly. They didn't think bigger. They just were small minded. That led to their defeat. And that's what led to Anakin going to the dark. It wanted to save Padme. And I think Qui-Gon would have helped him understood some things. A lot better than Yoda tried to. Because they looked at issues as black and white instead of gray. That's what's wrong, and that's still what's wrong today. In today's society, mixing it up. Not everything's a black and white issue. Nothing's ever that simple. You have to understand, talk to the people, get to know their experiences too. But at least rely on more professionals than anything else. I'm going to end it on this. After everything that Anakin and went growing up, Qui-Gon would have been more of a level-headed, would have been more leveled. Obi-Wan wasn't. Qui-Gon was leveled. He was a balance. He was actually the balance. between light and dark within a person. He would have helped him bring the balance. And then having Sidious be brought back in the newer really took away from Anakin. I mean, even that took away from Anakin's sacrifice as Vader, you know? That one I do agree on. Even though it does make sense story wise why he would still be alive. I mean, he was conniving, he saw that betrayal coming, but still, I love the redemption of Anakin, but it kind of loses its power as the chosen one, you know, because he didn't bring balance. Luke and Leia didn't bring balance that much either. And even looking in then, I don't know if there will ever be a balance between light and dark. As long as they're small minded people, I don't think there will be a balance. Because you're always told, oh, this is wrong, that's wrong, but you are not told why. You're not explained to why. And you're not explained even more as to the depth that some things are. There are situations that you have to take into consideration for anything you do. It ain't simple. It's nothing is that simple. You have to take situations. You have to take a lot of things together like a puzzle, put them together. People who try to think too simply about an issue is going to be wrong. Just saying. You have to look beyond your perception of others, beyond your perception. But I've been experienced by so many Trump supporters that I won't let them on my page. You know why? Because so many called other people stupid, name calling, and one flirt who has a wife and yet he's on the internet all the time. Yeah. Eh. And I don't sell my soul to sell his merchandise either, by the way. I'm not someone who could be bought. You know? Just don't. I'm not all the way to the left. I'm trying to I want to everyone to be on us versus Trump, not one party versus another yet. It's all of us versus Trump at this point. We don't need a dictator in office. Some of y'all are thinking just like Anakin that a dictatorship needs to be done. No, it's democracy. Democracy is there for a reason. But once you get a dictator, that's it. You have no opinion. You have no right to be an individual. Everything will be told for you. Will be, oh, you should do this, you should be that. Yeah, you will not have a voice. Either you do it or you're in jail. Just saying. Because that's what's gonna happen. Democrats were right about the virus. I would heed their warning. Because we didn't do it before and look what happened. We're in a pandemic. Oh, because it doesn't benefit you and benefits others does not mean it's evil. You have to look at other people as well. And I think Anakin was trying to. I know he thought like a dictator, but I think if Qui-Gon would have been there, he wouldn't have thought that way. Because not everybody knows best for you. That's why you gotta make up your own mind and your own choices and free will. That's why government shouldn't have a say so on what they should choose, what you should choose for you. That's an individual choice. And that's why, let me see, separation of church and state's there for a reason. Not everyone's going to believe the same thing you do. That should be respectable. You know, I'm sorry I've gotten into politics again and again, but I get into it because I because it's important. And with Star Wars has always been political, always has been. And I'm talking about influences in the present day. It's all of it's kind of interconnected. Anakin was only a boy when Qui-Gon met him. Qui-Gon was right about him. And if every one of them would have been on board and believed in him, instead of trying to coddle him, try to do something with him, I meant try to keep him away from stuff, maybe he would have learned more. I mean, come on. He would have been more secure for one, and two, he would have been more coming to you for advice and trusting of you. But growing up, fighting in battles, engaging in battles, not what Jedi's supposed to do either. You know, keepers of the peace, and that ain't keeping peace. You're supposed to help people. Qui-Gon knew it. There's some things they shouldn't be allowed to do. Yeah, get involved in political matters. Yeah, that's restraint. But after Qui-Gon died, they got involved politically in a war. I say everything went downhill after Qui-Gon died. Arguably, that could be arguably debatable, but still, can't help but wonder if Qui-Gon was still alive, would everything happen the way it did? One person can change it. Just one person's presence can change everything, you know? And I'm going to leave it off right there. It's good to have a discussion. If you want to put your view down there, go ahead. Um, just be nice. Don't bully. And think about it. Think about these topics beyond and into our daily lives. Because they are, these movies, these characters are similar to our everyday lives. You can learn a thing or two just by analyzing and observing. And I appreciate everyone for watching, and I'll ciao for now, peeps. This is Rubber Heart Rose. Anytime, I'll be here. Ciao for now.